Hi everyone, welcome back to Shock and Schlock, where we take a look at some of the most extreme, controversial, underground, and worst cinema has to offer, as well as B movies and trash cinema. I am your host, Herschel Gillis, and today we are talking about the fourth film in the infamous Guinea Pig franchise, Devil Woman Doctor. Devil Woman Doctor was the um, fourth or sixth, depending on the release history there. In the Guinea Pig franchise, there is a little bit of uncertainty with a lot of people on whether or not this is the fourth or sixth entry um, in the film series there. But yeah, it's an often maligned, overlooked, and hated entry in an otherwise pretty thoroughly appreciated series in the underground community. This one is directed by Hajime Tabe. It definitely is a far cry from the rest of the films. People that are familiar with Guinea Pig are going to know about this, but for those unfamiliar, the first two films are sort of pseudo-snuff, mean-spirited horror films that are sort of a showcase of practical gore effects and um, definitely inspired the likes of films that came out later, such as Hostel and Saw there. Really was the first of its kind there. There's also some controversy around the second film, as Charlie Sheen believed it to be a real snuff film and submitted it to the police. That's a story for another day. But yeah, the fourth film is a splatter horror comedy, a surreal slapstick menagerie of very short little almost sketches or skits, I would say, tied together by the character of the Devil Woman Doctor, who is a sort of witch woman that takes in patients that have various bizarre ailments and tries to cure them. First off, there are 5 or 6 scenes in this, I believe. All of them are only connected by the Devil Woman Doctor. They're all funny, they're all slapstick. But just like any anthology film, I want to start out by saying that people are going to have their favorites, people are going to have their least favorites. I'm going to go through each one of these and give my brief thoughts on them. I don't want to make this a super long video. This is sort of just a transfer between my video interviewing Scott Philip Gergens to my next review. So I just want to have this as a quick, really more of a discussion than a review, talking about a movie that I think is unfairly hated. So the first of the vignettes is going to be a scene where the Devil Woman Doctor has a family whose heads will explode if they get upset, and a woman whose heart explodes when she becomes scared. It really sets the tone for the rest of the movie. It's pretty funny, very tongue-in-cheek, silly stuff. Nothing really exceptional there, but it is fairly entertaining for what it is. The gore effects are pretty bad compared to the rest of the series. I think that's going to be something that either people had trouble with before are going to have trouble with in this if you go in with the wrong expectations. This is more of a film akin to something like Frank Henenlotter would have made during the 80s or 90s. I personally enjoyed it, but yeah, it's nothing exceptional. It's pretty funny there. But the next scene is going to be about a man with dissociative identity disorder who finds a new life as a street comedian. That one's pretty funny. The special effects are a little bit better in this one. Both of these first two scenes are going to be about 5 minutes, 6 minutes max, as are the rest. The entire film is less than an hour. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorite of the earlier ones, though. Pretty funny. The ending's funny on that one as well. Yeah, nothing too bad to say about that one at all. Across all of these films or vignettes that I noticed was that the acting is not that bad in them. It's nothing exceptional, but it's definitely passable. Same thing with the cinematography and music. It's nothing that's going to really blow anybody's mind, but you have to give it credit for being better than what people say. People say this is one of the worst films ever made, that it's completely a waste of time, that it shouldn't be considered a Guinea Pig film, stuff like that. So yeah, moving on. The next scene is when a Yakuza member comes to the Devil Woman Doctor, and he has a sort of twin tumor sort of deal in his stomach that talks. That's probably my favorite scene in the entire film. It's very bizarre, really funny. It reminded me of something almost like Peter Jackson would have made when he was doing Bad Taste or Brain Dead, stuff like that. Really enjoyed that one. The special effects are actually pretty good on that too, and the ending of that short is hilarious. Really enjoyed that one. That's probably the most memorable in the movie for me. I'm not going to review these individually. I'll review the entire film at the end, but so far, I'd recommend it so far with these. The next one is going to be a zombie that has a still living girlfriend. This one is probably the most close to being a standard horror movie than the rest. Um, this one is also interesting because it shows his breakdown sort of in real time. Like the zombie with the girlfriend, she's aware of who he is and everything, and he starts becoming more and more rotten and dead as the scenes go on, and it has a percentage where it's like percentage that he's rotted. Thought that was really cool. The special effects were actually pretty decent in that one. Remind me a lot more of the earlier films versus that first vignette in this movie. So yeah, that's another one of my favorites. These two, this one and the Yakuza member, were probably my favorite in the entire movie, and I sort of feel like it goes downhill a little bit after this, with the next one being the doctor seeing a woman who is being chased by an internal organ that has come to life. There's no really introduction or story there. It's just really silly. It almost feels like sort of a segue between the segments, but it's stretched out way too long. This is one of the worst parts of the movie for me. Really boring. Nothing great about it. The special effects suck. Yeah, just not great. Felt like something a film student would make, maybe, if they were just doing a short just to mess around. Not my favorite at all. Um, the next one is about a man who sweats blood. Once again, nothing exceptional there. It looks fine, but it's not anything that's going to be blowing anybody's mind. It's really forgettable, honestly. I'm looking at these notes that I took here, and it's just really unexceptional. I forgot this part was even in the movie, so, I mean, that should give you an indication. I just watched this a few days ago for this review. So, yeah, we're going to... Moving on. I spent too much time on that already. The next one is going to be a patient who has a tattoo, and he wants it removed, so the devil woman doctor tries to remove it, but the tattoo keeps moving, changing shapes. This one really actually did impress me. I really enjoyed this one. It had sort of a stop motion feel where it's like the picture would change all the time. Definitely feels like this one had more effort put into it than the rest of the scenes in the film as well. Really a fun one, too. Special effects were great in this one. Yeah, actor was good, fun stuff. Really enjoyed that one. Probably one of the highlights of the film. So this one and the two that I talked about being my favorites previously are going to be the top three in this one. The final scene is a group of four men who sort of just sit down in chairs and talk about their various ailments or diseases and how they're worse than each other. Starts out sort of tame, but all of them are really bizarre. Some people are going to really hate this one, some people are going to really love it. I'm honestly just sort of in the middle. It tries really hard to gross you out. It really didn't, though, but it's like it does really show how this film differs from the rest of the film. So let's just take example Flowers of Flesh and Blood, a very dark, classic, grimy, nasty horror movie, and no happiness in that film whatsoever. And then there's this with a poop monster. So not saying that's bad, but it definitely was a surprise. Definitely more of a B movie than those, obviously, as I'm talking about this. And then the final scene, sort of just a credit scene, is actually one of my favorite parts. So this is a film that's well worth watching the credits of, where the Devil Woman Doctor says that people are going to get a steel pie, and someone takes like almost like a cream pie sort of stand and it has nails on it. They're so fake, obviously, which kind of adds to the humor of this. And it's just the people that worked on the movie slamming into each other's face, fake blood flies out, sometimes the plastic nails fall off. It's a lot of fun. You can tell that the people that were working on this had a lot of fun during production, and that always helps. With my enjoyment of films, at least, when someone's having fun making it, you're going to have fun as the viewer. So overall, I think it's an unfairly hated and maligned movie. It's not going to win any awards. It's not my favorite horror comedy of all time, but it's something that's well worth watching. Even for people that aren't fans of the Guinea Pig franchise, it's actually a pretty fun little horror comedy there. As far as my release goes, I always talk about that. I have the complete collection Blu-ray from Sloppy Second Sales. I can leave a link down in the bio to buy that as well. Unfortunately, I believe it's not an official release because the Unearthed Films DVDs are out of print. They're also hard to come by and very expensive when you do find them now, but I do believe that Stephen Bureau, the head of Unearthed Films, knows about Sloppy Second Sales as a company and about this release, so all by the books there, so don't worry about checking that out. I am going to put a link down in the description as well, just to check that out. As far as my review, I would give Guinea Pig 4 a 3 out of 5. Yeah, just a sort of average, fun little Sunday afternoon horror comedy. It's not going to win any awards, like I said. It's not my favorite of the series, but it's also not my least favorite. It's well worth a watch for fans of the series. Don't skip over it just because people tell you to, and don't skip out on it if you're a horror comedy fan either. It has some fun scenes to offer there. Other scenes are really bad and take away from it, but they last such a short amount of time that you're not even going to really notice that much. So, yeah, I would highly recommend this one to everybody. Yeah, check it out. And come back on 2 days from now. I'm going to be releasing a review of Red Crocodile by Timiziano Cristofaro. Really enjoyed that movie too. I'm really excited to talk about this upcoming review. Going to be a really good one. Might be a little bit longer as well because it's something I really enjoyed and I want to dive a little bit deeper into that. This is sort of just a fun review here. So I hope you all enjoyed that, and remember to keep the bell with notifications on as well as subscribe. So yeah, look out for that. I'm Herschel Gills signing out. Enjoy your weekend, everyone, and come back for more to Shock and Schlock. Thanks.